Diplomatic efforts are ramping up to end the war in Ukraine, with key players holding separate talks to resolve the long-running conflict. European leaders will hold an emergency summit in Paris, while the US Secretary of State Marco Rubio will lead a delegation that's meeting with Russian representatives in Saudi Arabia. The events are taking place after the Munich Security Conference, where the US Special Envoy for Ukraine indicated EU representatives would not be part of Ukraine's peace talks.
Can you assure this audience that Ukrainians will be at the table and Europeans will be at the table?
The answer to that last question, just as you framed it, the answer is no. The answer to the earlier part of that question is yes. Of course the Ukrainians are going to be at the table. I mean, it would be foolish to say they wouldn't.
Well, the US is now playing down Europe's concerns, saying the talks are in their early stages and the bloc will be involved if negotiations advanced further. The Trump administration has upended US policy on the conflict by opening direct dialogue with the Kremlin. A face-to-face meeting between the US and Russian presidents is expected to take place in the near future. Donald Trump says Ukraine's leader will also have a role.
We're moving along. We're trying to get a peace with Russia, Ukraine, and we're working very hard on it. It's a war that should have never started.
Do you expect Zelensky to be involved in these conversations? What will his role be?
I do. He will be involved.
The US has also signalled it wants access to Ukraine's rare earth minerals in exchange for the tens of billions of dollars in military assistance that it's provided to Kyiv. The Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has pushed back, but has acknowledged it would have been difficult for his country without ongoing US support.
Of course, in all the difficult situations, you have a chance, but we will have low chance to survive without support of the United States. I think it's very important, critical. But I mean, I don't want to think about it. Yes, we have to think about it. I don't want to think that we will not be strategic partners. I don't want to think about it because it will make a pressure on morality of Ukrainians, and it will be worse the thing from the very beginning of the war.
Russia illegally annexed the Crimean Peninsula in 2014. 3 years ago, it launched its full-scale invasion and now occupies about 20% of Ukrainian territory. The US has suggested it is unrealistic for Ukraine to expect to reclaim all the land lost to Moscow. Residents in the capital, Kyiv, are worried about how the conflict will play out.
To me, as a Ukrainian, yes, I would like us to return all our territories now. But is it possible? I can't say at this stage. I have faith and hope in it. I think everyone wants this to happen.
I believe there should be justice for Ukraine, because I consider the ceasefire to be our defeat. We have been destroyed for so long. How many heroes died? What is the reconciliation? Reconciliation with whom? No, it doesn't have to be that way. The world has to intervene.
Leaders from France, Britain, Germany, Poland, Italy, Spain and Denmark are due to meet in Paris. They're expected to forge a united front on Ukraine and European security in general. Analysts say it's in response to conflicting messages coming out of Washington.
Ukraine has been able over the weekend to voice its positions on an agreement with the United States, for instance, as far as raw materials are concerned, where there also was a pushback. So in my view, we are in a situation where the US is tabling all kinds of positions, and Ukraine and Europeans have to organize and coordinate how they approach the United States in this moment, where there's a lot of fluidity in what is coming out of DC.